I want to make cute little risers out of the end of this. I'm going to share with you how I made hockey pucks looking things. So just to get my evenness, I'm just going to run some tape. And this is inch-long tape. And hopefully a guide, because all I ever cut on is a bandsaw. And I need to have at least 2 out of this to do what I want to do. As you know, we're sticking with a Christmas theme here still, taking salvage finds and making them into Christmas decor. So I have to cut this little knobby off first. So I cut out a few because you just never know what wording we will want to put on these. It has, I think it has cement and stuff on it. It's salvaged. You got to take what you got to take what you get. Okay, I'm going to do a little sanding on it, especially since this side is really rough and raw. Oh, you see, that's when I'm sanding them. Some of them did break apart. The old glue finally gave out. That's not any big deal. We can glue them back together. So I'll just use some Titebond Quick and Thick. I have other projects to work on anyway, so. I'm going to use tape as a clamp. I want to paint the little pucks, so, but I need to, this wood is so raw. I'll go ahead and just fill that in with some of the shellac. I forgot about this one that I cut into wrong. Like, you know, I was trying to line them up, didn't line it up very well. So I'm just going to use some air dry clay. That'll be very noticeable. So we're just going to stick it in there just to fill my bad cuts. Hey, first one's always the trial, right? Unfortunately, when you have salvage, it's not like going to the lumber yard where you have multiple pieces of something. Okay, I'm going to make up some flour sack for those little pucks. I'm calling them pucks. That sounds good, little rounds. Going with the classic winter white here. For these, you know, of course, I'm going to have to paint both sides. So we're doing a thick paint so you get some character going on. I know it's the bottom, but might as well make it good, right? Nobody said painting the sides was going to be easy, but it's pretty dirty. Paint is dry. It's got some nice crackle and some age going on there, so we're going to go ahead and get them sanded. I have them all sanded. I was just looking to smooth them out, get any high spots off of them. So now I'm going to seal my milk paint in with some weather defense before putting my wording on. Well, I want to do that same image transfer. So I did Merry Christmas. I want to do like my little rounds, my hockey pucks. But there again, I need to go to my picture format and flip it. I think those are small enough. If they're not, then I'll go back to the drawing board and try again. So I think I did them like 75. It's only like an inch long. So let me see what the print looks like. So, I don't know. It still looks kind of big, but we'll see what it does. Ended up just doing a bolder. I was afraid the cursive wouldn't show up very well. Go with your gut feeling. So hopefully I'm small enough. So I'm just going to cut as much paper off as I can. And my thought is to layer the 2 pucks on top of each other. I've got Mod Podge poured into a bowl. I'm going to try to find a mostly white area. We're going to put a generous amount on. That way it's transferring the ink onto this little puck. And then I'm just going to eyeball. It's that perfectly perfect of a DIY craft, y'all. Missed it a little bit. This is just a shop cloth. And I'm just kind of pushing it into that Mod Podge that's underneath, wiping off the excess that I didn't really need. Better to have too much than not enough. My black showed through on this one. It's unpredictable sometimes, but that's okay. That's what makes it unique. That perfectly imperfect. Not a mass-produced item. These turn out good. I have ideas for non-Christmas ones too, y'all. Okay, I have them all on. And now I just have to wait for them to dry. I meant for this to be on the bottom. Oh, well. We'll be putting yummies on top of it anyway. My label is dry. I have just water, just tap water. And now we're just going to get my finger wet and I'm going to start rubbing off the paper. So the concept is I do have an inkjet printer. The concept is that the lettering should just stay and the paper should rub off. Now, yes, it'll take a minute to get it started. But you can already see as I'm working that it's coming off, that the ink adheres to the Mod Podge. I've done this before without an inkjet printer. Your image just isn't as dark, I think, is what I noticed. Okay, so then I'm just gonna let that dry. I'm just taking some sandpaper very, very gingerly because I do think you can kind of see the squareness of the paper that was on there, whether it's the paper itself or just how the Mod Podge got left behind. It's all good. Then I'm just going to take some more of the weather defense and seal that back in. For the box, I did wash it, so it's still kind of wet, but that's okay. I need to sand some of this other paint off there that's kind of yellowish, probably because this bled. That it's dry, we're going to go ahead, so it doesn't yellow, and it could have been just that it was yellow paint. I'm going to go ahead and shellac it because I would like it to be a lighter. I'm thinking probably Christmas white, but we'll see. I like the little nails on the side, so I'm like, I'm going to leave those. I need to brighten up my box. My shellac is dry. I'm going to be using Fusion's Picket Fence, the white. As you can see, it's white. we'll see. If it changes the color, it's okay. I gave it my all. But at least my white paint isn't just soaking in. Oh, the chip brushes. I didn't notice that. Box, I'm going to go into my, I've got a lot of labels from Howard Park Primitive on Etsy. And I'm going to be using, I want to make a Shiny Bright box. So there is my Shiny Bright. And then I'm going to put it into my Excel. So I'm going to copy it. And I've already pasted on here. So you just go to your paste and then it pastes it on there. But I've already done that. But I need to change this. I'm going to do not put a paper on there. I'm going to do the image transfer that you use Mod Podge for, or to flip the image so that the ink is on the box itself. So I have to go into my format. So I'm in my picture format. And then I'm going over to this little that will let me rotate and flip my image horizontally so that I can print it out. So that way the ink, this part is on the box because you want the ink to transfer. So if you did it the other way, you're just transferring blank paper. And then now I just need to size it to my box. Okay, after playing with my margins and stretching out my image on my Excel, I was able to get the size that I need. You always think it's going to be easier than it is, y'all. We have a white box, but of course my paint, I'm going to sand that off. I'm going to sand a little bit. I only did the image for one side because, I mean, I plan on doing the shelf, and what if it doesn't work? You know, anyway. I think it's going to be on this side, so, but need to give it, Fusion has a top coat, primer, all in one, so I just want to give it a sanding before putting the image on. I probably will sand it a little bit afterwards. We will see. I don't even think my image is even the width. It's all good. I'm out in my shop, and then my computer's in my house. So I'm not even going to stress over it. I'm just going to cut my edges, the excess white off there. How many times can you run back and forth to your computer? I don't know, but I'm not going to stress about it. It's supposed to look like a label that's worn off anyway. So cream line, because I think that'll blend it a little bit better when I go after the decoupage, the Mod Podging transfer. Paint yep, I'm doing it. I'm cutting the tree. Sorry, tree. Look forward to your line. That helps you cut straight. If you look down where you're cutting, then you're cutting what you're cutting and you could go crooked. But if you look forward at that line, it's crazy that your brain will keep you set pretty straight. So there we go. So see, but of course, your image is going to go like this. So the whole thing is to have the shiny bright there. So I know you want to use a generous amount. This is sealed in because Fusion has that top coat. So we want to get it everywhere covered with a generous amount, like I should. And now I'm going to put my image on. I think I got plenty, but I'll just tuck it under a little bit more. Mist that paper down. And take my brayer very gingerly, because now that I have it wet and it's so much Mod Podge underneath there, it's going to want to make it slide around. We're just going to leave it alone. It's going to take a while for it to dry, so I'm just going to leave it as is. Ooh, this one's a big one. So I'm going to go ahead and wet it back down. Give it a second for that water to soak in. And then I'll just start rubbing. The goal is to rub the paper off and that the ink should be left in the Mod Podge. Could we have just stuck the label on? Sure, but what fun and crafty would that be, right? We're not making a mess of things. Just gonna age those sides a little bit. Why it's still wet, because it'll tear a little bit easier. So of course I wish that it would have been the whole entire box, but that's just not how it rolled on this project, but it's still pretty cool. So we're going to get this sealed in with weather defense. I wanted a tiered set that was all kind of, similar but smaller and larger in size. I've already washed them up with Dawn dish soap hot water, but oil. So I just wanted to make because that's probably the rust. I want to paint them. But I just wanted to get the surface prepped a little bit more, some rubbing alcohol, seeing if I could get any more residue that might be left on there still. I want to paint these up, and I think I'm going to use DIY's Carnival Red. That's a good Christmas red color. Now I'm just going to try to stay on this part of it. But you can water distress this and wipe off where I didn't get it where I wanted to. So, but I'm just going to try to keep the detail that it's an oil can, not trying to make it something that it isn't. That's why I love these Stylemaster brushes, because the tip is pointed like that and it makes it easy to go in and get close up. And I like DIY paint because you could use a heat gun to help dry it, so you can get onto that second coat, because you can see that it's not completely covered. So I just did 2 coats of paint on these. Now I'm going to take a wet wipe and we're going to do just a little bit of whatever comes off is what comes off, just evening out any. It really does even itself, and it's it's not even underneath with the rust bumps and stuff, but so I just wanted some of it to come off. Well, the nice thing about oil cans is they have a hole. And you know, our Christmas theory, if it has a hole, we're going to do something with it. It's not a bottle brush tree. It may be a hanger for an ornament. So I'm just taking some of the 17 gauge wire. It's aged. Didn't think new wire would look right. And then I'm just going to twist it. Make a, like a little curlicue circle. Will it be perfect? Probably not. But it'll go with the salvaged look. And then we're able to stick it in the hole. And I made it so it would go all the way to the bottom. It definitely has that Grinch kind of curve to it. Who is crafters, DIYers, doesn't have some of these laying around? These old, they were roofing shingles, but they're metal and they're super strong. Super strong. So I think I want to make like a 2 and a 5 on here, the Christmas numbers. As you see, there's some roofing material still left here. See if I can pop that off or not. I know we always see these and we're like, oh, it's so cool. Let's buy it. And then it sits in our so I've tried bending them on a vise before and they don't bend very easily, so the gray is very much on there. So I'm going to seal everything in with shellac. That way rust doesn't bleed through, which I don't, I mean, I would like it if it'd be chippy white and that would be the rust, but that's not the case. So we're going to coat it with a good coat of shellac to seal everything in. Doing the same thing with flour sack on here. My shellac is dry. Not even sure. We'll see how much paint these take. I don't know. I may have to mix up some more. They're kind of big. When you mix it up thick, you kind of, instead of doing multiple coats, you're just doing one thick layer so you can get that crackling and chippiness. Well, surprisingly, I just made it. I didn't have to mix up a second batch. I have this little piece, though. I'm not really going to do much to it, but just I have some of the leftover paint. And then I'm just going to touch that up. These are the molding pieces. Yes, I almost laid it on its side that I had just painted. Now for my tiles, I just went to Pinterest, looked up free printable numbers because I'm just going to use copier paper to trace it on because that's uneven. It's not a flat surface. So I'm just going to copy my image, bring it over to my Excel program again, paste it. I'd already kind of cropped it. I'm going to crop it a little bit more just because I wanted to try to get as close of measurements as I'm not filling that whole space, but I want to get, somewhere in there. So now I can size it to what I need it to be. So I think they're 8 by 10s. Which of course is not going to, my paper I know is that size, so we're all good. So the same thing with this shape of number, looked for the free printable download. So all I did was just screenshot, set the screenshot to my computer, and then opened it up in my pages and then copy and pasted it into my Excel program. But I only want the 2 and the 5. This is for that little salvage molding piece. So I'm going to go ahead and crop everything down. Oh, I need the 2. Don't get rid of the 2. And as you see, I did 2 papers because I want the 2 and the 5. So now I got my 2, and now I need to go over here. We're going to crop that one now. Where's the 5? There's the 5. So they're that direction. It's all good. So my salvage piece is like a 7. So I need these to be like 3 by 2.5 inches to fit that. Yeah, I think that size will work. If it doesn't, I can print out something else. It's all good. Now I ended up having to do 2 coats to completely cover, but look at that amazing age. So I'm going to sand a little bit. We'll see what it does. There's some, of course, some bumps and stuff like that, but that's what happens when I personally make my paint thick. Before taking the copier paper to transfer the number outline on here, I'm going to seal my milk paint in with some weather defense. There's my 2, there's my 5. Center, tape that top down. So this is the one side. There's the side that will transfer onto that, and it smells awful. I don't know if you remember running the carbon copy machine at the school. I remember being a teacher's aide, and oh, that's that smell. It's the carbon. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press rather hard on my outline with a pencil or blunt object to transfer the outline of this 2 onto this tile. Okay, this is what it looks like after the carbon paper. I had to rub it. But I'm going to be using DIY's Carnival Red for my color. I'm going to do a little brush for the outline. And I chose the DIY paint because if I mess up, I can wipe it off. I already sealed my paint in. I would like to say I'm not going to mess up, but there's lots of texture going on with the milk paint. Lazy Susans, turntables, not to offend any Susans. Oh my goodness. Just make working on your project so much easier. And so not to take me all day after I get the outline done, which took a while, I will go in with a bigger brush. I'll probably take a couple coats, but the DIY should level out a little bit. When I went to do my second coat, I told myself I wasn't going to paint the front, but then I couldn't help it, just so it was just as white. So I'm going to go ahead and sand this a little bit. You know, that's just kind of how I am. So we need to seal our milk paint in, so weather defense is going to be. So what if you don't have carbon paper and you don't want to get carbon paper? Okay, I'm going to cut my outlines on my numbers out as close as I can, and then we're just going to trace around those. So I have some double stick tape. I think it's small enough. Yeah, it is. To go around. We're just free eyeballing here. Yeah, looks good. Yeah. So then I'm just going to go ahead and hold the paper while I'm taking a pencil and tracing around the outline of the number. And I'm liking on the red, so I'm going to go ahead and stick with the red. So little brush to the edge. This one isn't as uneven as the roofing tile metal. Crazy how many different angles you need to go to feel comfortable to put your paintbrush down. One more to go. So I'd like to sand it, but I know I'll just be spreading the red paint around. So I'm just going to go in with some weather defense and seal that DIY paint in. Okay, maybe a little distressing. With a prayer that it'll come off. I filled my white paint in, so I shouldn't have any problems. No, no problems. You know me. I just gotta do it. I don't even know. I don't think you can really distress on that very much. So all I'm going to do is seal the numbers in. So that was fun going around the shop looking for items that have dust on them that haven't been done in a while and make it into beautiful, one-of-a-kind Christmas decor. I just love how these turned out. Oh, and I haven't done that reverse Mod Podge technique in a long time, and it still works. It definitely does, and I will be making those little pucks again. So thanks for watching. We will see you next time, and hopefully I gave you an idea of some of those salvage finds, some of those scraps that you might have dust on laying around in your stash. We will see you next time, and you can see what I'm up to. Bye.